Sorry about the error there. Here we go. Page 2. What is volume of the cone shown at right? This is a right cone because the altitude here is drawn straight over and goes in the middle of the base. So this is called a right cone, as opposed to this one, which is called oblique, which means it leans. Okay. So volume of the cone, remember, is 1/3 the area of the base times the height, and in this case, the base is pi r squared. So it's 1/3 pi r squared h. Plug in. 1/3 pi times radius, which if this is 6 for the diameter would be 3 squared times 12. Now it is in terms of pi, so we're just going to leave the pi out of the calculation on the calculator here, okay? So we're going to do 1 divide for the fraction by our third, and then we're going to do times 3 squared times, in this case 12, hit enter, and we get 36. So this is 36 pi. And let's freeze that. That's our volume. And again, this is inches cubed, so that's choice 1. Okay, Sue believes the two cylinders shown in the diagram below have equal volumes. Is she correct? Explain. Remember, that means use words. Now you can use math, okay? So we could, for instance, find the volume of both. Just mention the fact that since the volumes are equal, right, for both of these shapes, they do indeed have equal volumes, but instead we're going to make it short. What we're going to say is, right, since the cylinders, and this is the big error that happens on this question, okay, have the same radius. Remember, this is 5, so is this. And height, what we mean by height here is the altitude, right? If I was actually measuring like a mountain, the altitude, I want to find the highest point and go perpendicular to the ground. So this is straight up and down. This one's leaning, so this is this guy. So it's not the 12. 12 is the slant height. That's my altitude, okay? All right? We can say then the volumes will be equal. You can also just mention the fact that they're going to have the same area of the base, because the radii are the same, and the same height. Either one of those guys, okay? Next one, a barrel of oil, fuel oils in a circular cylinder. Just draw a picture, guys. 2 circles, connect the sides together. There's your cylinder. Right means it's perpendicular to the base, okay? The diameter is 22.5 inches, and the height is 33.5 inches. It says there's 230 cubic inches of liquid in there. In a liquid gallon, I should say, right? Determine and save the nearest tenth of the gallons of fuel that are in the barrel of oil. Okay, so let's start what we got. Now, that means for every 1 gallon, there's 231 cubic inches. So essentially what this means is when I figure out my volume, I'm going to want to use this 231 to figure out the number of gallons. We'll talk about when we get there, okay? So let's start first. The volume equals, and this is just area of the base times the height. So R in this case is half of 22.5, which is 11.25. And then our height is 33.5. So we're just going to type all that in. So squared times 33.5. And I get that number with pi attached, right? So it's 4239.84375 pi is the volume. So if this is how many cubic inches are in there, and if you really want to multiply by pi, we can. We're going to get that guy, okay? But for every 231 of these, we have 1 gallon. So really all we want to do is take this number, 4239.84375 pi, and we just want to divide it out by 231. And that will give us the number of gallons. Now it says to the nearest tenth, so when I divide it out, I get 57.666, so this is just about 58 gallons. And that's it. Great Pyramid of Giza was constructed with a regular pyramid with a square base. Regular just means that all the sides are the same on the base. It doesn't have to be a square, right? It could be an equilateral triangle, whatever. In this case, it is a square. Put a dot over the top, connect it to the corners. There's your pyramid. Terribly drawn, but there you go. All right, the volume of this, we know, remember for a pyramid is 1/3, right? Which is just area of the base times the height. The height we know, if we go straight down to the base, is 146.5. Now, the sides, remember, are the same, so they're both x. So we can kind of think of our formula as this crazy number, 2,592,276, is equal to 1/3, or the area of the base is length times width, which are both x. So x times 146.5. All right? So, if we do divide this out by 3, we get 48.83 repeating. So really, it's 2,592,276 is equal to x squared times 48.83 with a hat on it, right? Repeating. And I'm going to divide both of the sides by that. All right? I'm going to go up and see how I press the up arrow and highlight. Okay? And then hit enter to bring it down. That's an around spot. We do not want to do that. Let's make sure that's the right number. 2592276. Okay. Let's try that again. So up arrow. Oh, we busted it. Let's try this again. So, man, how about we just use the answer function? So 2592276 divided by, right? We can hop up and get everything out of there. Or we can use the control answer down here, okay? And we get this guy. Okay? Remember, this is equal to x squared. So this is 53,084.150,10706 is equal to x squared. And now we're going to want to take the square root of that. And then here we can do second square root and then do the answer function, okay? And we get 230, which is choice 4. All right. Our fish tank is in the shape of a rectangular prism. It has dimensions of 14, 16, and 10. The tank contains already this much water. What percent of the fish tank is empty? So first of all, we have a tank, right? Okay. Some sort of drawn tank, like so. All right. Not greatly drawn, but we'll take it. Dimensions are 14, so let's call it 14, right? 16 and 10. And it's filled with water up to some point, right? Where the water level is at 1,680 cubic inches. All right? We want to know is how much is empty, right? So what we need to know is how much the fish tank actually holds, and then I can tell you that. So what we want to do is calculate the volume, area of the base, right, times the height. So it's just 14 times 16 times 10. 14 times 16 times 10. And we get 2,240. So now we need to know is how much is empty, right? So we're going to subtract. So 2240 minus 1680. And we end up with 560. Okay? So now we're just going to divide. So how much percent, what percent is empty? So it's part over whole. I think you can also do x over 100, right? One of those guys and just cross multiply and solve, or times 100. However you want to get this out of here is up to you. I usually just do this times 100. So part is 560 over 2240 times 100 is equal to about 2240 times 100. Boom, hit enter, and we get 25%. Now be careful, because if you would have checked the 1640 and done the fraction with this, you'd actually get 75%, because that's what's full, so just be careful. All right, the diameter of a basketball is probably 9.5 inches. The tennis ball is 2.5 inches. The volume of the basketball is how many times greater than that of the tennis ball? So first of all, basketball, we need the volumes, right? The volume of the basketball. So it's 4/3 pi r cubed, 4/3 pi times, no. Diameter is 9.5, so just be careful you don't use 9.5 here. Okay? And this is 4.75, which is equal to yeah, we'll just do times pi on this as well. And I get this crazy thing, right? 448.92050229. All right. The volume of the tennis ball. So once again, 4/3 pi r cubed. This is 4/3 pi. Remember, the diameter is 2.5, so we need to do half of that. That's 1.25. And then it's just 4/3 pi times 1.25. Don't do that. Don't do that as well. Cubed. And I get 8.18. 123086872. How many times greater? So we just want to divide the two. So 448.92050229 over 8.18. 123086872. Or highlight, divide, highlight, and we get, and it's about what? 54.8, so it's just approximately 55 times as big. All right. And the last page, last but not least. Find the volume of a square pyramid with base edges measuring 45 feet and a slant height of 72 feet to the nearest cubic foot. So, what we don't have here is the actual altitude. Now remember, if this is a right pyramid, this is exactly half of the 45, this line right here. So if we take 45 and divide it by 2, if you also hit period before you hit enter, the decimal point, it'll do decimal for you. So this is actually 22.5 there. So it's, first thing we need to do is bust out with some Pythagorean Theorem. And instead of using this, we also could do this for this question, because that is a leg here. So 72 squared minus 22.5 squared is equal to b squared. And this is 467.75. How about 4,677.75? We are going to take the square root, and we're going to get just about 68.39407869111. Now, a lot of times the questions, if you round it here, you should be okay. I hesitate to tell you to do it because it can create errors later on. You can be off by a little bit. So I would leave this number as the long decimal for right now. But this is my altitude. That's my height. So my volume, okay, is going to be 1/3. The area of the base, it's square. So it's 45 times 45. And then times this height, right, which is 68.39407869111. And all I got to do now is type that in. I'll just go up and grab that guy. And I get nearest cubic foot. So 46,166 feet cubed as my answer. Now, let's say we rounded this and we just put 68 here, right? So 0.5, no, don't do that. 1/3 times 45 times 45 times 68. Look at, see how we're off? Like, we're not going to get the same thing. So just be careful when you're rounding. Can't see it. Can you see it now? See that? We're off by a little bit there, okay? Surface area is the total area of the subject. We talked about this before, right? For most shapes, the formulas are just the area of the outside piece. Remember, a cylinder, for surface area is all of it. The lateral area So it's 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. This is just 2 pi r h. The cone is pi r l. The surface area would include the base, which is a circle, so plus pi r squared. And the sphere just has a surface area, no lateral area. So calculate the surface area of the prism below. And this side right here represents the base. Okay? So the surface area is equal to the perimeter times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. So the perimeter would be 4, right, times 4. The height is the other side, which is 3, the distance between the bases, plus 2 times the area of the base, which is 4 times 4. Now, what you could have done is said to yourself, how many sides of 4s, 4 times 4 do I have, right? There's 2 of them, and there's 2 of 4 other ones that are 4 times 3. So you could have added those together as well. That's just another option. So 4 times 4, 16 times 3. This is really 48. This is 16 plus 2, which is actually 32. Let's try that again, 32. And then we'll add that together. And we get 8. So, and you can put units squared if you want. You don't have to, but it's up to you. Now the lateral area, right, we leave off the 2 16s on it. So this would just be the 48 for the lateral area. Surface area of the regular triangular pyramid, no, not regular, just triangle prism listed below. So the base is the triangle. So if you remember, we know a few things here. We know that this is isosceles. We know that the bottom here is 24 for this piece. We know this is 6. We know the height's 9. So we have enough to do everything. So the surface area formula is the perimeter times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. The perimeter is the 10, the 10, and the 24. So 10 plus 10 plus 24. The height is the distance between the triangles, which is 6. And the area of the base is, well, it's 1/2 the height, right? Base times height. So it's 1/2, 9 times 24. Remember, the 2 and the 1/2 are essentially going to cancel out here. So it's 10 times 10 times 24, right? Don't forget the times there. Times 6, which is 14,400 for the first one. And then 9 times 24 is 216. Remember, it's actually like 0.5 times 9 times 24. But then there's 2 of these. So that's why we just do the 216. And then we add this together. And we end up with 14,616. And then it's just units squared. And that's it for this area. All right, that's it for today, guys. Hope you guys found the video helpful. Remember, surface area is all the surfaces. So perimeter of the base plus 2 times the area of the perimeter of the base times the height plus 2 times the area of the base. That's the formula we used for that one. Depending on the shape, if it's a cone, it's pi r L plus pi r squared. If it's a cylinder, it's 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. There's 2 circular bases. The pyramid is 1/2 the perimeter of the base times the slant height, and then plus whatever the base is, the area of the base. So that's pretty much how we're working forward from this. So if you can remember that, you guys should be able to do a lot of stuff. All right? And tomorrow we're going to work on those questions right out of the book. See ya.